it's Miss Fiala. I just wanted to go over today's lesson with you. Sorry it's a little late being posted. I had to figure it all out. It's going to be a little bit quicker than I would like because it's only allowing me to upload videos of a certain length. So if you have any further questions after I'm done, you can always send me a private message on Edmodo. So here are your 2 pages that you have to complete for your FSA countdown. All of these problems you should be able to do on your own. Because it's stuff we've already done. You just have to make sure to look for your key words. So number 1 is a simple division problem. Number 2 says how many times larger is the value of 250,000 than 250? Remember, the key word here is times. So what times 250 will give you 250,000? So I'm going to show you an example. So if I have 250,000, remember we talked about if the digits are the same and they're in the place value right next to each other, it's 10 times larger. If it's a place value over, it's 100 times larger. If it's 2 place values over, it's 1,000 times larger. So these 2's are the same digit. They're not right next to each other. It's not 1 place value over, it's 2 place values over. So 250 times 1,000 will give you 250,000. Now, if that 2 was right here, it would have been times 100. If that 2 was right here, it would have been times 10. Okay? That's going to help you with question number 3. Which says how many times greater is the value of the 3 in 300 than the value of the 3 in 30. Okay. Number 4, you're writing that number in word form. However you say that number is how you write that number. Number 5, you're taking the expanded form and writing that number in standard form. All you have to do is solve these multiplication problems and add your answers together. The second page is all on rounding. So if you remember the rounding rules, you should have no problem. So the first one is rounding 590,340 to the nearest 100,000. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one for you so you can do the next 2 problems on rounding, okay? So let me go ahead and write this number. So we have 590,340. We're rounding it to the nearest 100,000. So I'm going to underline the place value I'm rounding to, circle the digit to the right, and now I follow my rounding rule. Is that circled digit a 5 or more or a 4 or less? If it's 5 or more, you add 1 more. If it's 4 or less, you let it rest. This is a 9, so it's 5 or more. So I'm going to add 1 more. I add 1 more to the underlined digit. Everything in front of the underlined digit would stay the same. Everything after becomes a 0. So your answer is 600,000. Okay? That should help you with number 2, which is also on rounding, and number 3. But for number 3, remember keywords. This one says which numbers, which means there's more than one answer here. Round to 4,100 when rounded to the nearest 100. You have to round all these answer choices to the hundreds place and see what it rounds to. Does it round to 4,100? Number 4 is what is the sum. You have to know what that keyword sum means. Does that mean to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? What are you doing with those 2 numbers? And number 5, find the missing digit. These ones can be kind of confusing, but I like to start these at the ones place and forget about that answer. Okay? So let's just solve that problem. 5 minus 5 is 0. Can I do 4 minus 7? I can't. So I'm going to borrow from the 8. The 8 becomes a 7. The 4 becomes 14. 14 minus 7 is 7. This is now a 7. So 7 minus 6 is 1. 9 minus 6 is 3. Can I do 0 minus anything and get 1 as an answer? I can't. So I need to borrow from the 4 becomes a 3, and the 0 becomes 10. So 10 minus what now will give you that answer of 1 there. And you should find that missing digit. If you have any other questions on those 2 pages, you can message me on Edmodo and I will be glad to help you. Today's lesson, though, is on dividing, which is also review. So this entire page you should be able to do by yourself, and you should be able to check your work with multiplication. Okay, and that should help you out. So I'm going to do a couple division problems for you really quickly to kind of get you thinking more about the division and what we've already done. So this should be just a reminder. So I'm going to flip this around so you can see my board a little bit easier. Hold on one second. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk to you about are the steps to dividing. So let's go over those really quickly. Step number 1 when we divide is to divide. Step number 2 is multiply. Step 3 is to subtract. Step 4 is to bring down. And step 5 is to repeat, which means we just start back at step number 1, divide, okay? So I'm going to do one on here with leaving this up so you can see our steps, and then I'm going to erase this and we'll do another one, okay? So let's start with a 2-digit divided by a 1-digit number. 86 divided by 3. The first thing I'm going to do is underline that first digit there, the 8. So now I'm just doing 8 divided by 3. How many times can 3 go into 8 without going over? So to do that, I'm going to skip count by 3 to help me out. Skip counting is really helpful, especially if you don't know your basic multiplication as well, or if you want to make sure that you're 100% correct. So I always do that skip counting. 9 is too much, so I cross that out. So 3 goes into 8 twice, 2 goes on top. Second step, multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. Third step, subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2. Fourth step, bring down. I'm going to bring down that 6. Now I repeat, I divide again. So how many times does 3 go into 26 now without going over? I'm going to keep skip counting to figure that out. 27 is over 26, so I'm going to stop and cross that off. How many times did it take me to get to 24? 8 times. 8 goes on top. Now my second step is multiply. 8 times 3 is 24. Third step, subtract. 26 minus 24 is 2. Now my fourth step is bring down, but I have nothing else to bring down, so now I'm done. My answer is 28 with a remainder of 2. Okay? Now I'm going to do another one with a 3-digit number divided by a 1-digit number. So let's do 762 divided by 4. So the first thing I'm going to do is underline that first digit there, the 7. So how many times does 4 go into 7 without going over? I'm going to skip count. 8 is too much already, so I'm going to cross that off. And 4 goes into 7 one time. 1 goes on top. Now step 2, multiply. 1 times 4 is 4. Step 3, subtract. 7 minus 4 is 3. Step 4, bring down. I'm going to bring down that 6. I'm not going to bring down the 2 with it yet, just the 6. I do 1 digit at a time, okay? Now I repeat, divide again. 36 divided by 4. How many times does 4 go into 36 without going over? So I'm going to keep skip counting. And I get right to 36. How many times did it take me to get there? It's 9 times. 9 goes on top. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 minus 36 is 0. And some of us stop there. That's not my final answer because I have to, now after I subtract, I have to bring down. I'm going to bring down that 2. That's not my final answer. After you bring down, you repeat. Start back at step 1, divide. What is 2 divided by 4? Can 4 go into 2 without going over? 4 is already more than 2, so the answer is no. So I'm going to put a 0 up there. Okay, and now my answer is 190 with a remainder of 2. Okay, now I can always check my work by using multiplication. So to do that, you take your answer on top of the house, 190, and I'm going to multiply that by what I was dividing by. I'm dividing by 4. 190 times 4. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 9 is 36. Put down my 6, carry the 3. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. Then I add what my remainder is. So 760 plus 2 is 762. Is that the number inside my house? It is, so I know my answer is correct. And that's how you can check all of your problems on that practice division worksheet, okay? If you have any other questions on the steps to dividing, or if you get stuck on one of those problems, you can always send me a private message on Edmodo and I can help walk you through it, okay? When you're done those 3 worksheets, the 2 FSA pages and the division worksheet, then you need to do 1 lesson on your FSA Review Week 2 Imagine Math Pathway. Remember, you have to do 1 a day to get all of your lessons complete by Friday. Okay? If you have any other questions, let me know. Bye, guys.